Do you find many corner case issues in your products? Is your team unable to find them before customers? Probably you need to change something. Once I was working on a hardware product for industrial application. We just sold a few devices to one of the first clients. They installed them and started to use them. This device was connected to a few other devices and was collecting and presenting metrics about the manufacturing process. After a short period of time, we received a call. Users complained that the device hangs every other day. We tried to analyze logs, but they were fine, nothing was particularly wrong. Remote debugging did not help, so I traveled to the factory and looked for any clues of what was wrong. I was able to identify that there was a memory leak in a case when connection with a remote device was interrupted. The code, which was supposed to re-establish the connection, was missing a command to free up some allocated piece of memory. But why was the connection interrupting? Because the physical line was very long and set up incorrectly. This sounds like a typical corner case, right? A few very rare conditions happened at once and caused misbehavior of the system. Users used a faulty data line. Should you ever bother to take any actions afterwards? Well, definitely yes. The lesson I learned here is that you should always test your system in the worst possible conditions to check how stable the system works. When you test system in perfect conditions, you can reproduce and identify only simple, most obvious issues. But the most tricky problems happen when a system faces one or multiple challenging factors. Usually you can't control this. The more experience you have, the more different types of issues you faced before, the more tricky issues you will be able to avoid during the design and implementation phase. But you can't avoid all issues. Some of them will be new for you, and you won't even know that they could exist until they happen in your device. I'm Alex Kuzmiuk, and this is Alpha Trials. Today we are talking about the importance of corner case testing and how to deliver reliable products. When testing hardware devices, we test them in the same good, stable and controllable conditions. In real-world applications, your devices rarely see them. More often, devices are exposed to some problems like noisy or weak power sources, unstable connectivity, slow internet connection, unexpected reboots, users might behave in unexpected ways, battery could degrade over time, weather conditions might be outside of optimal range, etc. All these factors could trigger unexpected problems that you won't be able to easily foresee or reproduce in your standard environment. Typical testing happens in a developer-friendly environment. You are testing your devices either on your desk or in some lab. There are high chances that the environment is fixed, stable and pretty good. On top of that, you might ask developers to test devices in their homes. You might have multiple teams and labs across the globe, but in any way the set of these environments is very limited. At the same time, millions of users can expose your device to millions of unique combinations of factors. But even the most sophisticated lab can do the same. Usually, good practice is to collect performance metrics from device in the field. You can rely on them to make data-driven decisions on device's performance. It is very convenient to see that on average the battery losses is 1% of capacity per day, or that the average battery temperature is 35 degrees. But the problem is that there is no average user out there. These average numbers can easily fool you and provide a false sense of security. If you see, for example, that battery loses on average 1% per day, this could mean that for some users battery loses 0.2% and for other users this number could be up to 10% or even more, making usage of your product inconvenient, which impacts users' experience and your reputation. Also, when some problems happen with your device in the field, you have very limited capabilities to understand what is happening and why. You might have logs or might not. If device goes offline due to any issues, you are losing access to logs. Logs won't capture external environment conditions. Usually, developers log information which can help debug problems which they have already faced before. For absolutely new and unpredicted issues, you have very high chances of not having needed information in the logs, just because nobody was thinking about such issues before. Since during testing you can cover only so many conditions and factors, you will have a chance to capture only basic and trivial issues. This means that in basic, straightforward use cases that you think are typical for your users, you might see a good, stable performance. Device will operate as you expect, and this will give you a sense of stability. However, this sense might be misleading. Your tests might have pass rate 100%, and at the same time you might receive complaints from users that the device is not working properly, that it reboots, turns off, misbehaves, or loses internet connection. Sometime during debugging such problems, you will hear from engineering teams that the issue happened in corner case, and it does not affect other users much, so it makes no sense to fix or investigate the issue. Is it a valid sentiment? Can we accept marginalization of some users by the environment in which their devices operate? Can we afford degradation of performance due to the fact that our team is unable to find the root cause of the problem or deliver a proper solution for it? You need to find answers to these questions by yourself, taking into consideration the urgency and severity of particular problems, resources available, company culture, etc. And how to avoid such problems at all? What is the best way to find issues earlier than your customers? How to build a process in a way where you foresee problems and prevent them? The key here is perception of corner cases. Usually we think about them as something unusual, something that occurs only when some factors are at extreme values that should never be a case for typical users. Basically, we are intentionally reducing priority for them. But this is a mind trap. We limit ourselves to our own imagination of what is normal, keeping all variety of real-world problems outside of our comfort zone. Such behavior does not help fixing the problem. If we think that problem is a corner case and it might not be worth exploring or fixing it, it does not help our customers. They still face this problem in their very specific use case, and they start to build up negative perception of your products, your brand, and your company. From their point of view, this is not a corner case, but rather a norm. They don't see the bigger picture, and they don't care if millions of other users don't face this issue. What they see is a device which works unreliably, and the company which can't fix it. Recently, a friend of mine bought an indoor home security camera. Later on, he started to complain about multiple bugs in its functionality. He experienced huge lags between moments when he initiated live view and when video actually happened on the screen. Audio quality was terrible. In completely silent apartments, the camera rendered huge noise in the audio stream, probably because microphone sensitivity was increased too much. Camera was missing too many motion events randomly. So he was unhappy. He complained to the manufacturer. He complained about this defect to the seller. Seller replaced the camera, but issue persisted. So now my friend is upset. He says that these cameras are not mature enough and that the company uses him as an early tester for their products. What are the chances that he will purchase the camera from this brand one more time? Will he recommend this product to others? I don't think so. The better approach is to treat all cases equally. You can stop using the term corner case at all, or name every case as a corner case. It doesn't really matter which option you will choose. All that matters is that if the device or feature fails, it fails, even for single user. This breaks user experience, trust in your brand, and finally, your revenue. Imagine a car where the wheels can fall off if the speed is about 100 miles per hour and the driver presses the open trunk button. Is this a typical use case? No. Can this happen in the real world? Maybe yes. Do you want to do a recall if you will identify such a problem? I think yes. It is hard to earn trust and it is easy to damage your reputation. So you need to treat every failure as an opportunity to improve. If a use case where an issue happens is rare, it should not be an excuse to not fix it and keep releasing new products or firmware updates with a long trail of issues and bugs. Every case is a corner case and vice versa, so every corner case should be investigated and fixed. You need to build a test system which tests your devices not only in normal cases, but particularly in the worst cases and in some intermediate stages between. If you have a connected device, Test how it operates at different levels of Wi-Fi signal, in conditions where there are a lot of Wi-Fi access points, where there are spikes in packet loss, with multiple different access point types and makes, etc. If your device is supposed to operate in harsh industrial environment, test in such environments, simulate bad noisy power supply, unstable data connection links, etc. Can you imagine what a challenge it is to ensure that your device can properly operate at large exhibitions like CES? Some devices literally can't operate in such a crowded and overpopulated Wi-Fi environment due to random issues in their wireless stack. Sometimes it is enough for only one user to face some issue that can impact your business in an unpredicted way. This person could be a popular influencer, owner of a big business, this can happen at exhibition, etc. Experience of every user matters. So, you need to treat every user-facing problem as a disaster and look for all possible ways to recreate such disasters manually on your side before your customers will have a chance to do this. You need specifically put your device in a challenging conditions and seek for any potential problems and instability that will arise. You need to identify all possible risks in user experience and work backwards from them, designing such a set of test environments where you will be able to control desired parameters and perform stability tests for all edge values of this parameter and for some intermediate values too. And if you need to scale this solution, you definitely need to be able to do this in a fully automated manner. Okay, I hope all this was helpful. Please add a comment with examples from your experience where the issue was considered as a corner case and ignored, and this caused problems later on. If you want to receive more stories like this one, please subscribe and press the bell icon so you will never miss a new episode. Thank you for watching this video and see you next time. Bye.